just after having a conversation with my mom about it, or just about, my life, I asked her a question, which was like, I was like, Mom, why do you think it's been so much warfare in my life? Like, why does the devil hate me so much? This was like before salvation type. And my mother ended up telling me that when she got pregnant with me, she took these pills called Humphrey 11s. She already had a daughter, she had a son, she didn't want no more kids. At that time, Humphrey 11s was considered like a abortion pill for you to abort your seed. And so she said that she had took multiple pills because she was like, man, I do not want another baby. I don't want another child. And so this is where I believe, with my understanding now, that rejection was shown in the womb. Like I wasn't wanted. So I'm a failed abortion. And so a lot of that of not being wanted started at conception. Now, how that thought and that idea, of course, we hear a lot of people say you're born into sin, shaped into iniquity, but the seed of rejection and abandonment was in the womb. And my mother said this, she said, but the more she tried to take these pills to get rid of me, the harder I was kicking in her belly. And she kept saying, now these pills working for everybody else. All my friends are saying these Humphrey 11s are effective. This baby refused to die. And so the more she tried to abort me, she couldn't. And so when I say at birth, as I think about it now, that rejection was sown. And so even the first time that I kind of could recognize this attraction, this is how, and I just want to gently say it, the distortion that I thought happened in third grade when I recognized it, like a little kid. And that affection that I knew was for a teacher. Of course, you don't have language for it. You're not like, oh, I'm gay, or you don't have vocabulary. All I knew was this teacher would spend time doing my hair. Because again, at that time, my dad in and out of prison, so he's in and out of my life anyway. Great man when he's around, but he was in and out. My mom, your typical hard-working woman who had to work a lot of hours. So she's in and out of the home. And so the affection, not a lot of it was there. And so I remember this teacher really taking on this role of helping me with my hair, talking to me, because I was really bad. Like I was terrible, off the chain. And she would always speak kindly of me. And I was like, I like her. And I just remember having these feelings of, I like her. Didn't have language yet, but that's how far back I can trace. How is it that at such a young, vulnerable age, without language, I knew that there was something there. And because I always say this, the enemy don't play fair. So before I had language for it.
To all my soldiers, we are knee deep in spiritual warfare, and Hardly Initiated has created some additional armor for the fight. The Fight the Flesh bracelet is a stylish reminder to stay disciplined in the face of battle and temptation. So click the link in the description and get yours today. And don't forget, use code CLIPS for 10% off. Let's fight.
I knew that it was something that was there that I was feeling, and it was for the same sex.
Wow.
I never thought about that because, at a young age, you start having those feelings in your body. You don't know how to talk about it.
Right.
It's undefined. It's all new. But this now came to a teacher.
Because you got these other adults who are, caregivers for you as well. And they operating in and out your life. You're spending tons of time with them. And I just never thought of that possibility of developing, these kind of feelings.
And
sorry.
No,
you good.
You could jump in because just to preface this, we talked about last time how a lot of times these unstable homes, it puts the children in these strange environments, whether it's because, it's a single parent household, so the mom needs some help. So now we bring in extra babysitters in. The child staying with extra, around other children that are bringing their influence onto the child at their very early age.
It could potentially be strange because you might be getting a little bit more love and affection and attention in those other places as well. So it's not always, because it's you going into another or a different toxic environment.
That's true. So this environment here that you got brought into, Sophia, just to be clear, was this like after school where this was all happening for you? This was during school?
So this during school, and I want to keep putting emphasis because as we talk and we journey through, the main emphasis that I want to point out is the enemy do not play fair. So you look at the rejection in the womb, the abandonment, then the dysfunction of parents, you know, where mom working dead in and out of the home, the dynamics, right? And so now a teacher who is very innocent, this doing recess, this doing just taking care of, making sure I'm good. So the distortion of that, I was interpreting her taking care of me, giving affection, which was very pure affection, and just making sure that as a child I'm good. But because the enemy don't play fair, there goes another seed that's sown. Now I'm being accepted or I'm being embraced by a female, a woman. So it wasn't even like, oh, I like other little girls or this or that. Or then in childhood, it was so funny because once these affections start happening, I'm still a child. You know, when you start playing house, you playing house with people on the block, you playing house with kids in the neighborhood. I couldn't, now that I'm remembering, I was never the mom. I was always, you be the dad and she be the mom. Now I'm a little girl. So at that time, we're not even looking at, you know, identity at that time being more masculine. I'm a little kid. So playing house, all of these things start happening. I'm playing the role of the dad. And this is in childhood. Never with me wanting to be with boys on the block, but playing house with other little girls. And I'm playing the role of the father. Yeah. And so when I look at all of this in childhood, all the way into even still being a child, I got exposed to sports, basketball. Now, I'm playing basketball. Now, I got a cousin who was older than me. That's why you also have to be careful who around your kids, who is now starting to bring me vocabulary. Now, mind you, at this time, I don't know nothing about lesbians, dykes, butches, gay, don't have language. Now the language was introduced to me from a cousin who was older, and he was like, she look at that tomboy. She a dyke. She a lesbian. Was comparing me to my other cousin. I had another cousin that was very pretty, long hair. Now, at this time, I'm just a little kid, wanting to play basketball. Now I'm getting language for it. So the curiosity of what is that? What is this? So then during my, you know, of course, playing basketball and all of this, now I'm looking for what is that? And I'm exposed to the language. And now that's kind of how it was starting to be developed. It's just wild.
No. But first of all, I always said this, and I don't know how many people are going to like this, but first of all, I would not put my daughter in basketball.
Because of the culture?
I truly believe there's really I don't know what it is. There's some spirit of homosexuality in the basketball.
My sister played basketball her entire life, and it is a lot of that.
Oh, I played basketball too in high school, and when they was telling me was going down on that bus.
On the bus, at the hotels, just story after story.